Hello guys, I know my sound is a bit crappy, but it's the best I can do at the moment. I'll try to make it better for next time. But I have this task, my procedural programming, second-hand in, and I had to do this challenge. These 6 individuals here. I'll do this brief, and basically I had to write a small program, 10 variables, and each variable should have a suitable value in it for that specific variable. As you can see here in my program, I've done that up here. I've included IO stream and IOman IP. That is so I have the functions that I need, like cout down here. Then I said using namespace std, so I don't have to write std : cout all the time. Now I can just write cout. Then I have main, my main function in the program, and that is where the program is starting. Then I'm answering on question 1 and 2. Here I'm assigning a value to my variable char1, which is of the data type char, and then the modifier is signed, unsigned. I also did this with short integers, and long integers. Signed means that it's minus or negative or positive, and unsigned means that it's only positive, so it can store more numbers, but or not more numbers, but higher numbers, but the same amount of numbers. Yeah, it's basically pretty simple. Then I have my float, which can store decimals, and therefore I can store 0.56, for instance, like here. You'll also see that here my unsigned integer, I put it in brackets instead of set it equal to. That's another way to do it. I can then have here my double and long double. I've put numeric limits double max, which means that it takes its max value and stores in it. So that's my way to find the max value. Then question 3, I have used std to print out the exact value of each variable. I'm doing that here. Cout, std cout I'm using, I'm printing out all the variables, the values in the variables. I have char1, print out char1, end line, which means it skips to the next line. It also does that here with the \n, it also skips to the next line. So that's 2 ways to do it. Yeah. First, very simple. Then question 1, question 4, I have to use size of and get the size of the variables, both in bytes, which is the first one, size of, it gives it in bytes, and the second one, I've multiplied it by 8 to get it in bits. Very simple. Again, does that with all of them. Then typecasting. I've mentioned 3 typecasting. Int a equal to int brackets float 1. It then creates an integer and stores the value float 1 in it, and then put that equals to integer a. If I just wrote this one, it would actually make an integer with the value of float 1, but it would not store it, so I couldn't access this later on. But by putting it equal to int a, then I'm storing it somewhere, so I can access the memory of it later on. The next one, I'm using int b equal to brackets int float 1. I'm then setting integer b to be equal to float 1, and I'm specifying that float 1 should be delivered in integers, so it's actually making the conversion over here, and then it's storing it in b. The last one is the easiest one. It's implicit typecasting. It takes integer c and puts it equal to float 1. You can also use dynamic typecasting and static typecasting, and there's also one called reinterpret typecasting. There's some others also. Dynamic casting is the one you would use the most. You use it when you have classes and subclasses, base classes, subclasses, and so forth. But you have to specify how it should handle these, how it should convert them. When you're dealing with data types, it already knows how to convert them, so it knows that if a float should be converted into an integer, it should just loop enclose the digits and keep the whole numbers. So I don't have to specify it here, but if I had created my own classes, I would have to specify how it should handle the different classes and how it should convert them. But that's a way to do it. Static typecasting does the same. Dynamic casting will give you an error if you're trying to typecast a subclass up to a base class, because the base class don't know how to deal with it. While if you're using static typecasting, it won't give you an error, it would just do it. So you can mess up your program really bad by using static typecasting, but it is also easier and quicker for the program to do. So if you know what you're doing, it's faster. Yeah, that was the 5 one. Demonstrate 3 different examples of typecasting. The last one, write out a double using cout with no less than 15 digits. I'm using that down here. I'm saying set position 15. It says how many digits is allowed to be displayed. 15 digits, and then I'm writing out my double end line to give some spaces. I'll now try to run the program so you can see it actually functioning. Yeah, here it is. You can see up here at the start, here I'm printing out the values in all my variables, character values, short integers values, integer values, long integers, floats, and then I have my long double. You can see it actually says 1.79 and then some numbers, e plus 308. This means that the number in front of e times by 10 to the power of the number after e. So this is the max value for a double and for a long double. Then underneath I'm printing out the bytes and bits of each char, integers, short integers, long integers, floats, doubles, long doubles. And lastly, I have my typecasting. You can see that the float is 2600.56, and when I'm doing these typecasting, it will convert the number into the integers a, b, and c, and it is also always equal to 2600. So it's actually just skipping the digits. And the last one, my double with 15 digits. You can see it is displaying 15 digits, but it is still missing a lot of numbers, so it still puts e plus 308. So this is still it's a more specific number, but it's still times 10 to the power 308. So I'm still missing a lot of numbers. It's still rounding off, but it's closer to the original number than the one up here. Yeah, that was my program. As explained, I've answered all the questions and so forth. I could do some of them in another way, for instance with the typecasting, but this was the easiest way, the quickest way to do it, and it fulfills the task. If I have to do it with classes, I would do it with dynamic casts. But hopefully I will display that in a later assignment. Well, bye for now, and I'll see you guys next time when I have